Hiya, it's Jin, and today I would just like to give you some tips on playing Fire Emblem Engage on the Maddening and Classic difficulty. Um, I've been playing since launch, so that was what, 2 days, 1 day ago, and I chose to play on the Maddening difficulty. Just for fun, just for fun, just for the pain, just for the sadness, just for the just for the insane amounts of copium. I'm having PTSD. I'm sorry. Chapter 5 was insane. Really, really insane. Anyhow, enough feeling bad. Let's go to the tips. And my number one most important tip, don't do maddening. Don't do maddening, guys. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Maddening is really unfair. And I think it was meant to be unfair. It is unfair for a reason, I think. That is the entire point of the difficulty. So if you don't want, because you will have moments, every Fire Emblem player knows this. You will have moments wherein units with 1% critical chance will just one-shot your unit with a critical hit. That will happen a lot in Maddening. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen on normal or hard difficulties, but when they happen on Maddening, it just hurts so much more. It just hurts so much more because you want as much units, as much of your time rewind charges as much as possible. You want them. You want them. Because you have to use every resource, every unit, every knowledge of the game that you have at the moment just to survive. So, do I suggest Maddening? To be honest, no. Again, I have to keep repeating this. Please don't do Maddening. Because I think that hard mode actually, is the most balanced difficulty of this game. It gives you enough challenge while also not being unfair. While also giving you the option to be flexible on units. If you want to experiment on units, it's okay on hard. In Maddening, the game expects you to have a bit of knowledge, to do a bit of min-maxing, especially on strategies where you make choke points and stuff like that. It's still very flexible, but it's very, very punishing. And overall, I think if you're not looking to play this game too long, because I imagine the maddening difficulty will make the game 3 times longer just from the sheer amount of retrying and pushing through the levels and making sure that no one is dead. If I was okay with someone dead, I think my gameplay would be shorter, but again, I like to keep all my units alive, so I do a lot of reloads, saves coming. I know it's not supposed to be that way, but just play on hard, guys. Just play on hard. Hard is very good, actually. I have a hard save file as well, and I think the gameplay is very much balanced on the point of giving you enough challenge. So it's not unfair. It's very hard. It's still hard. It's gonna give you enough challenge. Normal, of course, normal is the normal playthrough of the game. Gives you a lot of options. Be flexible, build whoever you want. Hard mode still has that, but a bit more limited because you want to do a bit of min-maxing and just making sure that all your units are leveled up and geared up, and you know a bit of what you're doing. Maddening is just brutally unfair, so don't do it. Don't do it. Tip number 2: staffs are OP in this game. I'm not sure what's OP. What's not? What's S tier, B tier, D tier, C tier, F tier, tier your mom, or stuff like that? I'm not sure. But so far from my experience, I think the staff line of weapons are very OP. Because I got this on chapter 5. These two, this one on chapter 6 and this one on chapter 5. So, this one basically blocks a tile. So, it chooses a tile on the board. And it basically says, okay, no one's gonna step on this tile anymore. That's what obstruct does. So you can choose, for example, on chapter 5, there's this narrow passageway. I have a video on it on my channel. So there's this narrow passageway, and you can abuse that passageway by basically blocking the other end of it with the obstruct stuff. And the Illum is used for Chapter 6, where the map is dark and there's fog of war, so you can use the Illum. Anyways, Obstruct is really OP, just wanted to say that. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 1, don't do Maddening. Tip number 2, use staves, use utility, use everything that you have. Tip number 3, do Somniel stuff. In your hub space, there's a lot of things that you can do before every battle. So from my experience, they reset every battle. It doesn't matter if it's a paralog, a side quest, or a main quest. Every battle, you get to do a few limited stuff. For example, you can eat here. So you can order a meal, give some of your units some bonuses. The arena, for example, is just literally free experience. So far, I haven't seen any stages where I can grind XP, where I can level units. This is the only place, and you can only do this 3 times. 3 times. So you can level any unit 3 times. You can level 3 units, or you can level 1 unit 3 times. Whichever you want. I think that's it. That's the most important stuff on Somniel. There are also stuff like exercise that gives you +2 bonus on speed, +2 bonus on strength. Gather materials, just so that you can give it to your units to push for support. So you can gain support points or whatever. You can improve your support with other units. And support is very important, not only from a story perspective, but from a stat perspective. Because support is literally free stats, and you want as much of that as you can when you're on Maddening difficulty. So just go around here. Don't worry, everything that you need to do will be marked on the map. Except actually not everything. At least the gathers, the things that you can gather will be marked on the map with like a shiny golden blot. Like here, for example, it's marked on the map. Just grab it. Grab everything that you can. If you're feeling lazy, just, you can't be lazy in Maddening. You need to use everything. Anywho, that's it for Somniel. Just do everything in Somniel, every fight. Check everything each time you go to a fight and you exit it. Go back home, check everything, check the arena, check the plaza, check your supports. Do this regularly. You don't need to min-max it. There's a min-max videos on Somniel on your home base and YouTube. You can check it out, but to be honest, I don't think you need it to min-max this as much as you can. Just play it casually. Just make sure that you're doing it and you're gonna be good. Number 4. Tip number 4, abuse your range options. What do I mean by range options? Basically, these ones. Hand axes. Hand axes and javelins. So far, that's the range options that I found. It's mostly hand axes and javelin. So make sure that each unit, like each melee unit, always has a range option. Because range is very good, especially if you're on Maddening and you're playing the choke point strategies. If you're funneling, for example, enemies into one place and you want to pick them off one at a time, you need range options on your melee units. Always helps, always helps. So just make sure that all of your, for example, my Chloe has a javelin. My Louis also has a javelin. So all my spear users, they have javelins. All my axe users, they have hand axes. For archers, you want the opposite. So the archers typically attack on range and they cannot retaliate on melee. So just give them the mini bow. The mini bow essentially gives the archers a melee capability. They allow melee for range for archers, so they can attack at melee range. That's tip number 4, right? Tip number 5, emblem rings. Simple. I just kept this simple. Keep polishing it. There's a room right here. Let's go to the room real quick. So this is where you spend. If you've been playing the game for like 3 to 5 chapters, you might notice that you're getting bond fragments. So this is the primary area where you use it. Create bond rings. This is basically a gacha system. So to be honest, I just balance it out. I just make sure that, for example, my mart has 7 over 40, 4 over 40, 3 over 40. Just make sure that you're giving, giving enough bond fragments for the emblem rings. Each of them. Just make sure that everyone's getting enough shit, and that's fine. And then ignore you really can't min max this because it's all RNG. It's a gacha system. They probably took it from their mobile game Fire Emblem Heroes and decided to implement it in this game. I don't know. Polish them. If you polish a ring, you can build bonds with the ring. Doesn't matter if the one polishing it is the wearer of the ring or not. Whoever polishes it gets bonus bond points with the ring. So when they use it next time, they are better bonded with it. So yeah, just explore this part. Really good. Once you go to further in the game, you can inherit skills. Basically, the skills of the Emblem Lords, like Marth, Celica, Sigurd. You can pass them on to the unit itself. So they don't have to activate the engage in order for the passive skills to be activated. They just have to inherit it. But you need SP points, which I'm still not sure how to grind them on. My final tip is Sigurd. Sigurd basically gives a unit extra movement, and what I did is give Sigurd to Chloe. I think Chloe at this point in time is the best Sigurd holder because she's a flyer. So what she wants is to go in, deal damage, throw a javelin, and go out. Why? Because you want to avoid the archers. So I think from this point in time, just give Sigurd to Chloe because she also uses lances, and Sigurd gives a bonus to lances, to spears. So if he's a spear user, give her Sigurd or give him Sigurd. The other option that you have is Alfred. But again, Alfred's gameplay revolves around waiting and then attacking. So he waits one turn and then he attacks, and then he waits one turn and then he attacks. He's better as a semi-tank, pseudo-tank unit than a mobile unit. So if you want mobility, Sigurd is your best emblem, and the one that needs the most mobility are either probably Chloe, probably Louis as well. Louis I think can use Sigurd too. You can give Sigurd to Louis as well, because he has very low movement because he's an armored knight, and armored knights typically have problems with movement. So maybe Louis can also, but to be honest, I tend to not overextend. The way I play is that I don't really overextend that much, and the way when I overextend, I just do it with Chloe because he has Sigurd. So it might be a bit useless on Louis because Louis, you just want him to stick with the theme. You want him close to your teammates. You want him covering your archers and your mages. He's not really the type to go in and go out, go in and go out. Go in and go out is Chloe. So yeah, Chloe and Sigurd, really good. Has been carrying me through games along with Celine and Celica. All of my boss skills on Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 has so far been done by Celine and Celica. Because once you get to Chapter 5, there will be a mechanic wherein the boss, you have to kill the boss twice in order for you to actually kill the boss. So killing, like depleting their HP to 0 one time is not enough. You need to do it twice. And Celine, I save her for actually doing the killing damage. So what I do is go in with my other units, kill the boss once, remove the gem because it's like a revival gem or something like that. Make sure that the boss uses his revive, and then I finish things off with Chloe. Celica. Chloe. Celine and Celica. I finish things off with Celine and Celica. Just warp in, do a Ragnarok, do tons of damage, kill the boss. Doesn't always work. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it will work in higher levels, but so far it's been working for me. And yeah. Again, Chloe and Sigurd. Anyways, those are my tips. Tip 1, don't do maddening. 2, use staves. 3, just do your somnial base thingies every day, every fight, every after fight. Do it. Go home, eat with your friends, do some exercise. Number 4, abuse range options. These are your javelins and hand axes. And number 5, just use Sigurd on Chloe. Anyhow, this is Jin. I'm doing some playthrough on my Twitch channel on Maddening difficulty. I also have a guide on chapter 5. You can check it on the channel if you're having troubles on chapter 5, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been. Just check it out. What else? Subscribe and watch more of my videos because I actually like doing videos now that I discovered it. Anyhow, I'm going back to Fire Emblem, doing some grinding, probably streaming. See you guys around, and hopefully I make another video. And see ya.